What's going on, Philadelphia, and welcome to another action-packed, fun-filled episode of the Cheap Seats. We got a lot to get to on this episode, especially coming off of a big win against the Jacksonville Jaguars team that went totally according to plan, totally according to script. Nothing to talk about whatsoever. No kinks in the work. No nothing. Yeah, right. We got a lot to talk about between Nick Sirianni, the unbelievable plays, the trade deadline, touch on Kelce and everything. But first and foremost, let's get it set from off the top. When the NFL schedule comes out every year, I'm looking at three things right off the bat. Number three, I'm looking for the home opener. Because I got parties to plan, man. I got tailgates to plan. Number two, I'm looking at the bye week. Where's the bye week? This year it came a little early, albeit at the exact right time for this team. The first thing I'm looking at is where is Dallas? And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Dallas. Hold on, let me take my jacket off real quick. It's getting a little warm in here. Let me take off the jacket. Yeah, that feels a little better in here, right? Got to let off some steam. But it is Dallas week, and I know as I'm starting to get revved up for it, honestly, as we sit here on Wednesday, I was having a little bit of trouble. Getting the juice for this big NFC matchup. Getting the juice against the Cowboys. And I understand why, right? Dallas Cowboys right now, complete dumpster fire. Even with Dak. But now they don't have Dak, so they're going to be even more of a dumpster fire. And I understand that if you come from a younger generation, let's say you're a teenager, let's say you're in your 20s, you've lived your entire life and your Eagles fandom with the Dallas Cowboys not really being a thing, right? Not really being a rival, being that team that chokes away the season every single year, time in and time out, you can set your watch to it. But I'll speak on behalf, which I rarely do. I'll speak on behalf of my co-hosts as well in saying that I remember. Oh, I didn't forget. I remember the days when it was the Dallas Cowboys winning Super Bowls. I remember the days when it was how many rings you got. I remember the days when it was trophy cases empty and saying, this is the Eagles Super Bowl trophy case. I remember those days of those dirtbag kids. You know the ones I'm talking about. Those front runners whose daddy didn't hug them hard enough or show them enough love that would come to school in the Dallas Cowboys starter jacket just to needle it to the Eagles fans. I remember all of it. So when it comes to this rivalry, yeah, it's Dallas week. All that and more on this episode of the Cheap Seats. But first, I got to kick it to friggin' Walker, Texas Ranger over here. Bro, what's with the hat?
It's Cowboys week.
What do you mean? Apparently, yippee-ki-yay.
What do you mean it's Cowboys week?
Yippee-ki-yay.
When else am I going to get an opportunity to wear the hat?
Hopefully never.
What do you mean hopefully never? I haven't. I'll be honest with you. I think this one's going to get tapped a little early because I think we have a decent show on deck. I think some people are going to take some shots.
Oh, yeah.
I think I'm going to have to put the shield up because they don't like the old sombrero on the head here.
Okay.
So I might as well start popping this off early. Speaking of, Mr. Gritty, how are you doing today?
I'm better than you.
I don't know. Why's that?
Well, I've seen EROCK dress up as a cowboy also.
I was dressed as a trash can.
Yeah.
For Halloween.
That's appropriate.
That was my Halloween costume.
That's appropriate.
Why is this inappropriate?
That's a cowboy.
It's just a hat.
It's not just a hat.
It's not? Well, what's that? A little bib you got on your head.
This is Phillies.
Oh, so that's okay.
This is Phillies. It's got a P on it.
Who said this wasn't a Philly? Why can't it be an urban cowboy?
We're in Philadelphia.
No, that's my point.
Yeah. Where's the urban cowboys in Philadelphia? I haven't seen a horse here in a while.
You do?
Unless the cops
You've
are on a
never
horse.
been to PBR?
Wait, he's serious?
No.
You serious with that?
No, I'm just saying unless the cops, I was about to make a joke, but you guys stepped on it. About the cops and the horses and the
I'm sorry.
I like the fit. I like the fit. I got the boots too.
Yeah.
Don't get it twisted.
Knock yourself out. You're a Cowboys fan. It's all good.
No,
I didn't know you were a
no,
Cowboys fan. I didn't know you had paraphernalia in the house. You know what I mean? Like some people, you know what I mean? Like it's cool.
Yep.
You got the whole uniform dressed up. Like I said, I've seen other people dressed up like Cowboys fan. I appreciate that entendre a lot better.
Ain't gonna fool me.
You talking about me dressed up like a lineman. Howie's going to have to go get some out the couch because he didn't do nothing at the trade deadline. So I figured I might as well throw my jersey on, see if I can get a one-day contract. I'm good for 3 snaps. On the third one, I'm probably going to blow out my Achilles, but I'm good for 3 full snaps, Howie. You know what I mean? Get me in that alumni room and make me an Eagle. That's why I'm wearing my jersey today, because we didn't do anything.
You look good.
But first, let's talk about the don't try to compliment me because I'm mad at you.
Oh,
don't try to compliment me. You wearing a Cowboys hat. If we were doing a Yellowstone podcast, I'd be riding right with you.
New season comes out on Sunday.
That'd be different.
New season comes out on Sunday.
But we in Yellowstone.
My fault. You're right.
So let's talk about. So I don't run the show. EROCK runs the show. If you don't know how things work, so we talk about things very loosely beforehand. What we're gonna do is talk very positively about the Eagles for 10 minutes before I lit fire under this team. So let's start with the good stuff. The highlight. Somebody in the chat said, you can't posterize somebody in football, but that Saquon picture should be a poster.
Yeah.
I'll put this to you. You're a father of a son.
Yes, sir.
So I'm putting this to you first. You have 10 days to put on social media a 17 by 12 framed picture of that on your kid's wall. You need to go get that printed out and put that on his wall. That should be a poster. The Eagles have dropped the ball. The Nike team has dropped the ball. They went out there and put witness, and they put it in reverse. Excellent job. It's on T-shirts. It's everywhere. I use it for my thumbnail. It's everywhere. But that's poster worthy. Your son should come home, look at his wall, and be like, damn, I appreciate that. They need to bring the posters back, and that's worthy of putting the poster on the wall. So I'm charging you with that first. You were going to lead the charge because you are the people's champ. You're the mayor. Go put that poster on the wall.
I absolutely. Now, does anybody? I didn't look it up, but does anybody remember the actual Jaguars player that got hurtled over?
He's a rookie. I feel bad for him.
I do feel. I feel bad for him because that image is going to be with him for the remainder of his days on Earth.
So I know who it is. I'm not going to say his name. I literally thought about that because I said to myself, I told my buddy, I was like, you know what the best thing about this for this rookie is? 1, he's a part of history. Yeah. 2, he was doing the right thing. Yeah. So much so, you can't even see the nameplate on his back. Because he was going down for a full wrap. Yep. All you see is his number and his head and his arms out. I'm like, bro, don't even mention his name. Because, there's nothing you can do. Coach, I did everything you taught me. Dad, everything you ever taught me. Because the 2 players before him missed on Saquon. The one guy went out and reached with all his heart and got the little shirt. And then the spin move, again, you're going for the wrap up. And you're just like, whoop, he's gone. And then when your eyes, I know in your heart, like if you ever play football, your eyes light up when you've got somebody coming square down your throat. It's like, all right, he's going to trick stick me or I'm going to hit him. And when you have faith in your mind, he was in the right position. He was right there. And it's like, so he vertically jumped me when I saw his nameplate. I saw Barkley. He was about to have back pain. He was about to be icy hot.
Yeah.
And then he just disappeared.
He had a one-way ticket to the blue tent.
Oh my God!
And instead pulled the most insane move we've ever seen.
I'm glad you said that too, because a couple things. Like first and foremost, we've all watched a lot of football in our day, right? And I think we can all easily agree. I've never seen anything like that. And Nick Sirianni's reaction after the game, I think, was completely authentic, where he was just like,
"What do you even say?"
I've never seen anything like it. The run itself, you alluded to it, Gritty. He eluded the first defender. Cool. That first spin move alone was hard. Yeah. Threw his foot in the ground, spun around, threw him out of his shoes. How the hell in his head, in his brain, like what clicked to make him think, I'm going to jump backwards. I'm going to clear this dude backwards is beyond athleticism, right? Because like our brains and most people's brains don't even think to do that, let alone do it in the moment while you have NFL athletes bearing down on you. There's one thing about that play, though, that I still can't stand, and I've confirmed it with a buddy of mine. What do I hate about that play? That is kind of tainting it for me just a little bit.
I don't know. Where are you going with this?
The hit. Because I watch it and I just see the hit he took how he exposed himself.
Yeah, he was kind of hurt.
You just saw him get rattled.
Yeah.
That every time I watch the replay, I'm like, oh God, that had to hurt. Could have been a concussion. Came out, had a little. You saw him stretching a little back. Love the play. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. I love it in like the moment of you freak athlete. How the hell did you do that? Yeah. I've never seen anything like that. I'll bow down to you. But then when you watch that replay and he gets crunched hard, to me, I'm like, come on, Saquon. That was dope, but come on.
And one of the things that we got on a CVS receipt list of show topics today is Saquon Barkley and his touches. And okay, do we need to start forethinking about this? Do we need to start looking ahead about the amount of touches that he's get? But just to kind of continue on, because it's a play, I know everyone's already talked about it, but it's a play worth continuing to talk about because it's a play that we are going to be talking about for the rest of our lives. When we think back to Randall eluding Banks to hit the tight end in the end zone, when we think about some of Michael Vick's plays, like we go back and revisit over the decade, we're going to be talking about that one. Like we talk about Chuck Bednarik leveling Frank Gifford, who I wasn't even alive to see that. I'm not even sure my parents were alive when that happened, and yet they're still talking about it. It's refreshing when the game of football still has a little curveball for you. Still, because this is, when it comes down to it, it's just blocking and tackling, right? That's the game of football. It's blocking and tackling. It's not, I have never heard the link, and I've been at all but 5 games since that stadium opened. I have never seen people get out of their link, and that reaction that you saw on the sidelines, the clip that went viral of Jordan Davis just shaking his head and like Blankenship, like, oh my God, and Goddard, like, what did I just see? I've never seen a stadium stand up and go, oh shit, like that. I mean, it was just an like that roast meme. Oh my God, did we just see what I think we just saw? When you're breaking down the mental thing, that's exactly where my mind went, and because to have that sort of, I enjoy breaking down MMA clips or hearing experts break down MMA clips. Just as much as I love football, because it's always like the setup here. He set him up over here. He's doing this. He wants this kind of reaction. He wants to go over there. But all of that happens in such a split second. Mark, I had to ask Mark, because again, relating it to MMA, what's the craziest thing you've seen in the octagon? And his answer was my answer. Demetri Johnson picking a guy up. This guy's like, if you don't know him, he's he's like a lightweight, flyweight, fights at like 145, 150, something like that. Picks a dude up, goes to dump him, but in midair, catches his head, catches his arm, and puts him in a flying armbar midair for the submission, instant tap. That is something that we have never seen before, and it's something that you cannot coach. The amount of mental processing required to spin move, you see him, he knows the guy's coming, know your momentum is swinging that way, and just say, screw it, I'm going for it. If he missed that, it would have looked ridiculous. Yeah, sure. But he landed it with gold medal-like Simone Biles precision, and then took 2 other guys to go for it. Just an absolutely unbelievable play.
And to that point, could you imagine if because you just got to go for it. You have to commit to it. Can you imagine if Saquon,
you're in.
He sticks his leg in the ground, spins around, and goes to jump and just gets like 2 feet off the ground? We'd look at him and he'd say, what the hell was that?
Or chicken fights.
You just jump backwards into a guy. What are you doing, right? Yeah. So we probably would have had a good laugh about it.
Right.
We'd be sitting here saying, Saquon, like, hell of an athlete, but what the hell was that? He must have cleared 5 feet. He must have cleared 5 feet.
Had to.
Because he literally lifted himself over a defender. So, I mean, again, just it makes, to me, that is a stark reality. That is what I mean when I say, yeah, but these dudes are different. Like, you think you're athletic, right? You think you're talented and you play D1 football and, all right, you think you're the best of the best? Nah, dog. These dudes are the best of the best. They are the freak athletes. They're just cut from a different cloth. They're built different. They can do things that normal human beings just can't do, and Saquon Barkley proved that. Well, and it's fun to watch.
I mean, you need to finite that down to he's different.
Everybody in the NFL is built different.
Yeah, but he's on. I agree with you. He's on different.
Okay, oh, yeah, fair. So, all right, hold on. Let me clarify it because I get.
No, not disagree. Not
disagree. Everybody in the NFL is so much different than the average person, and then Saquon's that much different than everybody else in the NFL.
Which is why he's so awesome.
There's a difference, and I'm not worried about him getting hit at the end of the play. He's a running back. He's supposed to get hit. That's what happens. Go ahead and make your move. It's just funny because at the end of the day, it's one play. It wasn't even a touchdown. But it's the same thing you talk about. Donovan McNabb moonwalking. Now I got the Saquon backward booty hop moonwalk. I mean, for the rest of my life, I'll bring it up. Donovan McNabb moonwalking and heing on people like you said, there's certain things that click in your brain.
Yeah.
Like you saw Randall Cunningham helicopter sacrifice his body many a time. He got hit really bad, bro. I never in my life once thought he took a hard hit there. Because when you're doing something special like that, like what you said made sense. I'm like, it didn't even occur to me like, oh man, he got crunched up. I had to think about it in my mind. I watched the video like everybody has. I've watched 1,000 times.
Oh yeah.
And I've seen him get hit. My thought process wasn't even like, man, he got jammed up the end, because my mind is still spin move, run off, back, like him getting hit was it. He might as well have ran to freaking Mars after he jumped over, because I don't even think about anything else. And I had to think about it, like, yeah, he did take a big hit, but that's why he get paid the big bucks.
He felt that. He was on the sideline for a minute. He felt that.
And, so EROCK, he does the openings. And normally I saw the chat. The chat was all hyped up on your opening. You guys think he did a good job. I don't think he did a good job. He actually did a terrible job in his opening, because we didn't start with the thing that mattered the most, EROCK. And
bearing the lead?
My hat.
It's bad on you. No, not the hat. We already told you you're a Cowboys fan. We don't like you right now.
I was taking a guess.
No, that was said, though. Something that wasn't said. You got to follow along. Speed up. We scored in the first quarter, and you didn't say nothing about that in your opening. I've been waiting 19 years, since 1944, for one shining moment to have a touchdown by Saquon Barkley, and it's 17 minutes into the show. And it's been since 1943 that I've gone 8 games with no points in the first quarter. And everything you said, that should have been the first thing that brought a tear to your eye at the game. A fumble turnover, capitalizing, Saquon. We scored in the first quarter.
What was the reaction like? You were there. Like, was there any satirical?
It wasn't. I was a little disappointed, because I was telling everybody this week they are going to score in the first quarter, and when they do, nobody does a sarcastic cheer like a Philadelphia home crowd.
Yeah.
Nobody does a sarcastic cheer like us.
Yeah.
So we were going to be hyped anyway, but we were going to, and it really wasn't that. And by the end of the game, normally any other game, BG, you're 100% right. That would be the lead. We scored in the first quarter. Can I get a Hail Mary, hallelujah? But if we're not talking about the Saquon play,
here we go.
We're talking about the Nakobe Dean play. And if we're not talking about the Nakobe Dean play, we're talking about the Smitty play. And even if we're not talking about the Smitty play, Dotson made an amazing play. There was so many amazing plays in that game.
The fumble from the kickoff.
Oh, yeah. No, the punt. No, kickoff. Punt, with Ringo.
Yeah. Fumble, crap. Yeah. Like I said, there were so many moments of just
we
joy.
forgot.
Yeah.
All overshadowed.
All overshadowed.
See, this is why it was the best, worst game in the world. And I watched you right after you left, and you were still, man, God bless you, bro. Like, I wish that I had more joy in my heart. Like, I watch you and I feel guilty sometimes. Like, man, I should be a better person. And then I go on, I make my stupid little video, and when 90% of the people are right with how I'm feeling, I roll myself back in. I'm like, EROCK's a special unit. There's only 10% like you that tell me, well, you still got to be happy with the win, and a win is a win. There were so many iconic moments in that game, and everyone's talking about Nick Sirianni afterwards and Saquon. Those are the two things. There were so many iconic, great moments. Kelly Green, you know they do an amazing job. The Eagles do. I'm hearing the old school music and stuff in the background.
Shout out to DJ
Merle
Donna
Reese
Cuts.
call on the radio with the Saquon thing. The local music was playing "Move, Bit, Get Out the Way," and I'm like, Merle with the move, man, and Saquon. The whole thing was just a movie. And it turned into a horror movie. Like, it was a movie, then it became a thriller, then it became a horror movie, and then it's like, oh, thank goodness. So let's keep talking about anything else positive you want to talk about.
No, listen, we already talked about the lead with Saquon. Let's shift it over, and I feel like I got to get behind the couch because there's a bomb about to go off when we talk about.
Are we sure we want to get into this now? Do we want to pay bills first?
Here we go. Ready?
Oh yeah, you should pay a bill first.
Let's pay a bill.
3,
oh boy.
2, 1. Sirianni, go.
Bet 365. Something do something. Get back over here and do your job first.
Read a bill.
All right. Let's pay some
bill.
bills before we get into Sirianni. Well, I got to pull up the read. See, I threw myself for
He was
a
over
loop
there in
on
the
that one.
bunker.
So me sitting behind the chair is not ordinary, and it's whatever the moment is. It's never ordinary at Bet365. Bet365 has 90 million users worldwide. That's a lot of users. Bet365 streams 780,000 events per year. That's a lot of users and a lot of events. Early payout offers across NBA, NFL, NHL, and MLB. Bet365 pioneered live in-game betting. And today, Bet365 offers the widest range of games and markets available for live in-game betting across 78 sports. Can you hand me my notes right over there at the top page?
Nope.
Please. So right now, Bet365. I got short arms, bro.
Well, don't just sit behind a couch.
Well, listen, man. I'm stuck here because I know
You can just move.
I know what's coming, man.
Safety
All right,
first.
fair enough.
I'm ducking for cover.
Safety first.
Right now, Bet365. Hold on. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. That's it. Use code PHLY365 to sign up, deposit $10, and place a bet for $5. You get $200 in bonus bets. Let's take a look at this week's games.
Here we go.
Commanders versus Steelers. They're going into the FedEx Field. That big dump. Washington is minus 2.5 points. That's it. Listen, Pittsburgh, we need you. We need you on this one. We need the Washington Commanders to come back down to earth. Eagles versus Cowboys, the matchup that we're going to continue to talk about tonight. Eagles are giving up 7. 7.
We'll talk.
We'll talk. you feeling me, though,
We'll
right?
talk.
Okay. And why are we even bringing up the Giants? The Giants are minus 6.5 against the Panthers. Very interesting. But if you use code PHLY365, you can just deposit $10, bet $5, and then get $200 of bonus bets to do anything that you want with it. If you or a loved one are struggling with gambling addiction, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be in Pennsylvania to play.
So 2 things. You're getting better at those reads.
I am.
You know that?
But it's consistency.
Okay.
And that's what the Eagles, like, you're consistently doing the same thing. You're getting better at it, right?
Okay. So when you're consistent, you become good at something.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that reminds me. Yeah, I told
You're
you guys,
consistent.
I'm a bit of a softball player, right? Like a men's competitive softball player. I can't let it go. A little past my prime, but I can't let it go. We happen to be consistently good as well, right? I don't know. Maybe we like to enjoy a nice Miller Lite after a ball game. Maybe, just maybe, like we did on our Sunday chips, maybe we like to enjoy a cold Miller Lite after a Tuesday chip because Philly Junk did it again. And this time it wasn't just me enjoying that cold Pilsner. It was the whole entire team. Take a peek.
Whole squad.
Look at us, whole squad. Getting deep on some cold Miller Lights after we absolutely blew the doors off the competition in a 3-game set. We took them in 2. It was an early night for us. You know what I mean? So we enjoyed ourselves some Miller Lite, and you can too, because you don't have to choose what's best. Miller Lite has great taste, and it's less filling. And as they say, it tastes like Miller Time. Championship Miller Time. To get Miller Lite delivered to your door, visit MillerLite.com/PHLYBirds, or you can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories per 12 ounces, fewer calories or carbs than premium regular beer. And I want to say this real quick, because we did blow the doors off them. Good competition, though. Right, we got
the doors off of who?
The dudes we played in the chip. I'm just
did.
We.
Your team. No, I'm
talking about our team. Yeah. We took home another chip.
I believe that.
Appreciate you.
I thought you meant the Eagles. I was like, who?
No.
I believe more in you.
No, I just want to put a bow on this for the Philly Junk because they deserve some of their love. But the competition we played, good dudes, solid dudes. They always give us a good run. The problem is they just had they got a bad manager. You know how that works? You got a good team but a bad manager. We're not going to name names, but he's just a guy. He's got that losing gene, if you know what I mean. Like the dude just doesn't know how to win. So he's got that loser gene, but I just want to let them know that they're
he's almost like he's making decisions that would cost you the game. Ready, PHLY audience? Here we go.
That's called a segue.
Keep it on the 3-shot. Ready? 3, 2, 1.
Take it away,
Nick Sirianni.
Nick Sirianni is one of the stupidest people on the planet. You watch a show or any kind of movie where there's a superhero, and he goes and he says, I need to go save the planet, and he's talking to a small child. All I need you to do is sit here and wait for me to come back to save the planet. And the child gets up and does something stupid and tries to help the superhero and causes more trouble than the superhero was already trying to fix. Now he's got to save the world and the kid, and it's like, if you would have just sat there and not did anything, I'd have been okay. But this kid has to put themselves in the story and become the main character. That's Nick Sirianni. This dude is an idiot. You're up on a team that can't do anything. 37 yards into the third quarter. Why are you going for 2? There's no reason to because they can't score or move. You're going for 2 because it's shady night. You're going for 2 because Ice Cream Doug's in the building and he's got a statue and you don't, and he won his Super Bowl and you didn't, and you want to pull your junk out and have balls. I'd rather you had brains. You're in the press conference afterwards like, I'm known for having balls. You're known for not having brains. Emotional intelligence, emotional incompetence. This man sat there and went for 2 again. Jalen Hurts went in the end zone, landed on his head. Your lineman gets clipped and has to go in a blue tent. And your dumb self needs to think you got to go for 2 again. You're already down 3 offensive linemen. You trying to tush push it again? Kick the points. The other team hasn't scored at all. But no, you want to tush push it. And now you go out there and you give the rest of the league some kind of confidence that, hey, the tush push isn't what it used to be. Tush push isn't working like it was. Oh, these guys might be able to get got. And you're putting my quarterback at risk for absolutely no reason. Then you want to go later on in the game and have my kicker, who only kicked in the first quarter, kick another 57-yard field goal after he's been iced on the sideline for no reason. I understand being aggressive, but being aggressive for aggressive's sake is embarrassing. Doug Peterson, hey, he had a QB sneak, didn't need a tush push to get in the end zone. He had 2 2-point conversions from not a 1-yard line. He was set back in the regular distance. 2 pass plays for his 2-point conversions that he needed to get back into the game. And then when you should have been up 9 and you're bringing up Saquon Barkley needing rest and maybe he's taking too many hits and he's got too much load, maybe if you were up by the extra 10 free points, you could rest your running back in the 4th quarter and have him take less hits. But you can't. You got to have him out there running like a dog in heat because you're stupid. And I'm tired of it. And don't tell me Nick Campbell does it. Everybody loves Nick. Not Nick Campbell. I confuse my tongue.
Dan Campbell. I know.
Dan Campbell. Guess what? That fool ain't won nothing either. So if you want to talk about winning something, he lost to the 49ers last year because he wouldn't kick a freaking field goal 3 times in a row. Lane Johnson comes off the field, boo. Jalen Hurts in the press conference did everything in his life not to throw his coach under the bus because the whole team knew 9 free points is 9 free points. And I know people are going to say other things about analytics. When you're up and the other team hasn't scored, your analytics don't matter. And the analytics don't tell you that you're missing 3 linemen. Where's the analytics in that? Your analytics don't tell you that your center isn't Jason Kelce anymore and the guy's got 5 more inches on him and he's a dinosaur and he can't get his low. You can't see it. You're stupid.
Time's yours. All right, so first and foremost, because I have a different opinion, naturally, but it's not that I don't understand where you're coming from, and it's not that I believe that you're wrong. Clearly, you're not. Clearly, it was 9 points taken off the board. Where the part that I'm trying to uncover for myself, right, in terms of well, how do I really feel? And I truly believe we've spent so much time on this show talking about what's the Eagles' identity? Have they found their identity? But when are they throwing the ball? Are they a tough physical team? Are they going to run the ball? Are they a defensive-minded team? What's their identity? When the one reality we can always hold true, and we've been able to hold true for the past handful of years, is the tush push and that style of play. And yes, it's aggressive, but just that play specifically, above all, is their identity. When you talk about the Philadelphia Eagles throughout the league, that play is synonymous with the Philadelphia Eagles over the last few years. You said they ran it, they got stopped, they gave the league confidence that they can stop it, which would imply that it's been unstoppable. So when you go into the situation where it is 16-0, and you're right, Jacksonville has only been able to pick up 1 first down the entire first half. 3 and out after 3 and out. They went for it. They turned the ball over on downs. Jacksonville wasn't doing dick. So it's 16-0. If you're telling me I'm at the 1.5-yard line, I know my identity. It is unstoppable. It has been unstoppable. The league views it as unstoppable. This is who we are. You're damn right we're going for the tush push. And to top that, at 22-0, you stopped me 1 time. I got another penalty. We're back at the 1.5-yard line. Boys, that first time was an anomaly. This is who we are. This is what we do. Get your butts on the line. We're tush pushing again. I don't like it because it didn't work. I understand that. I would have rather, in retrospect, have the points. It would have made the 4th quarter a hell of a lot easier to swallow. I agree with that. But we all know that's what they do. That's who they are. And if we don't want to, you can't, because it doesn't work one time, then say, oops, scrap that. That's no longer who we are. Nah, that's who they are. It's what they do. We can make the case that The one main decision that I think I truly had a problem with is when it was 4th down, end of the 3rd quarter. At this point now it's 22-16. At that point, you take the points because now it's a touchdown on a 2-point conversion, just the tie. I didn't like him going for it there on 4th and 1. But again, the overwhelming reality is Jacksonville was not moving the ball. Jacksonville couldn't do anything on offense. The Eagles had all the momentum. If you look at every statistical category, they dominated all facets of the game. Yeah. Jacksonville went on a 10-play drive. It's now 22-8. And if the refs didn't blow an obscene, obnoxious fumble for another 8, we're not even sweating it. It's 22-8. Eagles still have the ball. They're marching down the field. That fumble, that lack of overturned fumble, is what flipped the game on its head. Not Nick's decisions. It was that fumble that changed the entire complexity of the game, and it never should have happened. And I'm not going to retrospectively look at Nick and say, you should not have been who you've always been. I don't necessarily disagree with taking points. Like, I get that. But that's who they are. And I can't, in those situations.
If it's who they are, then why do you ever kick an extra point?
When they're because they're at the 3. But when you can move into the 1.5, they've shown you time and time again, they're going for it.
He took points off the board.
Second
of all, again, I would fully understand what you're saying if that's who you are. But the fact that you can't look at your situation and understand. Hey, bro, I got to get into work today. I'm taking the car. All right, cool. Take the car. Car doesn't start. Let me try it again. Oh, wait, the car's missing 3 tires? I'm going to drive the car into work anyway and try to get there. Why would you do that? I'm saying your quarterback just landed on his head. Yeah. Your extra lineman's already out. He was already the backup. If you can't look and see what's actually going on in the game, everything you're saying conceptually sounds so fine. But when you're in the game and you're the head coach and you have nothing else to do, say, hey, my quarterback just landed on his head. My guy's in the tent. Let me just line up and kick the point, make sure everybody's okay, and get back out here to business because the other team isn't doing anything. And as far as the fumble's concerned, that's football. Yes, we got screwed by the refs, but that's football. But you gave them momentum. You gave the defense life to say, hey, we stood up against the tush push. Nobody could. You missed the first one, fine. The second one, if no one was injured, I would have been like, fine. But it's conceptually in the game makes you an idiot. He just doesn't have a feel. He's in the room and can't read a 3-letter word. Talking about reading the room, he can't read a 3-letter word. Kick the ball, take the points, and never take points off the board.
I hear what you're saying, Black Gritty. I hear what you're saying, Jason. I'm even glancing up at the chat right here, and I know what the Nando Knight is saying. And Spiral Out, we hear you, buddy. Thanks for the super chat. I'm going to give you a third option, and I honestly think this is the correct one. I think all of this is predetermined. Not scripted. No, I'm not going down that.
I was like,
no. I'm not going down there. The NFL is scripted, bro. You got to read the script. No. But what I'm saying is situationally, the Eagles organizationally is so analytics driven that down and distance and points in the game are almost predetermined on what you're going to do based upon the down and distance, based upon they're studying the success rate of plays, certain packages, right, that they're successful at. They're studying where the opponent, let's say the Jacksonville Jaguars, where their deficiencies are in percentage-wise, and then they're taking a look across the league and seeing what's working statistically and what's not working statistically. So when they talk about situational football, I'm not sure that they're talking about in-game situational football, and we can agree or disagree with that or want more, a heightened sense of it or whatever it might be. But to allude to your point, when there is a penalty on an extra point and we are put at the 1-yard line, it is already predetermined we're going for 2. So Nick doesn't even have to think about it. He just knows. I can't tell you, and that's the benefit of being at the game and the detriment of being at the game, right? Because when that Saquon fumble happened, we weren't privy to a replay. I couldn't tell you if that was a legit fumble or not. I'm in the stands. I don't have a commentator in my ear. I'm not privy to all the camera angles. But what I am privy to is the wide-angle lens, and you kind of saw that when you were at MetLife Stadium, where all the time, if that penalty happens and the ball's put at the 1-yard line, Rick Lovato, man, and the kicker are all they're not even flinching. Yeah. They're on the sidelines.
Everybody's staying on the field.
There's not usually if there's a question of whether or not we're going to go for it, you see the kicker do this.
Yep. Because that's who they are.
And they back up.
And they know it.
I think that a lot of this stuff is predetermined. Hey, if we're 3rd and long, what group of plays do we like here against this kind of defense? And it's already predetermined. So they're going to select from 5 plays.
I don't need Nick, and I don't need a kicker.
So, well, hold on. Let me. Can I retort that?
And I don't need Nick, and I don't need a kicker.
Well, no. There's going to be a
you do.
situation where
But you do,
kicker
and here's
is based
why.
upon down and distance.
Well, Nick says that it's up to me. Again, I just go by what the guy lies and says then. Because I do believe you that there's a chart, there's analytics that says this is what you do. So then it's not him that's making these calls because that's the only thing he has left to do when he says, that's me. And again, the play that he's created, it's his play. So then I don't need Nick. Just read the sheet. The sheet's going to dictate to you. So if you're on a defense, you know what they're going to do because the sheet's going to tell them.
Well,
everybody else has analytics too.
Here's what's going to flip this on its head. If you look, let's take the 2-point conversions away, right? You look at the 4th down.
I agree. That's easy.
The 4th and
That's
3,
easy.
the 4th and 1.
Yeah.
And then the decision to kick the 57-yard field goal. 2 of those 3 decisions went against what analytics said to do. Against it. Now, they didn't work out, right? Not in each case, they didn't work out. But he made a decision to go against what analytics said to do. And here's another thing I do want to point out, because I think that 57-yard field goal is obviously leaving a bad taste in all of our mouth. You're right. He was cold, right? He didn't even get to kick extra points. And you want him to come in and kick a 57-yard field goal. The tough spot, and I said it before they put Jake in to kick the field goal. I said, it's a really tough spot to bring Jake Elliott in now in a must-have 57-yard field goal. The thing with Jake is that I think we're overlooking, and maybe Nick has confidence in him or is trying to ignite him, because in 2021 of kicks 50 and plus, he was 3 for 3. In 2022, he was 5 for 6. In 2023, he was 7 for 8. In 2024, he's 0 for 3. Very unlike Jake Elliott. Very unlike Jake Elliott not to knock down a big kick. He's made a living. He's one of the most consistent big game clutch kickers in the game. And I think at that point, Nick wanted to, get his guy going. And it didn't work out. But that's a kick that Jake makes. And it didn't work out. I would have liked to see him swing the leg a couple times just to kind of get it if you're going to put him in that spot, tough spot. I didn't necessarily agree with it. Right. That's a call I probably would have went for it. You're in that down and distance, or just punt it away and make him go the entire length. But it just, again, the tough part is there's a lot of revisionist history. I don't think there were a lot of smart decisions made. I understand some other decisions. I just don't like getting in the boat of having the advantage of revisionist history, retroactive.
Well, I'm in the middle of it. It's not revisionist. In the moment, the crowd is booing him. So it's not revisionist. During the game, the fans at the field were booing. So it didn't need to be revisionist. They saw what was going on live and in camera and were booing this man after every extra point, after every 4th down decision. They're booing him before the play comes out.
I don't care if the fans
I know you don't
booing.
care, but I'm talking about revisionist history. There's not a mass revisionist history where people want to change because it didn't work out. In the moment before the play even started, they were booing the lineup of the attempt of the play. People were in the moment saying, don't do this. It's not like, oh, it didn't work out, don't do it. It's like, before you even run this play.
You're saying for the field goal.
Yes, and for the extra point the second time. Just kick it. They were booing. Go watch the game. They're booing when they're lining up at the play.
That's maybe they were. I would be in the stands looking at everyone saying, what the hell are you booing for? You know this is the team. Like, you know this is what they do. You know that. And if they get in the end zone, all those boos real quick turn to what? It's unstoppable! Like, it's just so hypocritical to me.
To kind of tie a bow, because we do got a laundry list of topics to get to.
We got
to tie a bow on the Nick Sirianni thing, Gritty thinks he's stupid.
It's going to hurt me in the playoffs when it matters most.
And you're not.
Because
I'm not saying
you're doing these things, and you're doing it now, and you're doing it against mediocre teams. When you do it against a team that's good, it's going to kill you. And again, Campbell was the gambling king. It made a good name for himself, but he cost himself a Super Bowl chance because of that.
That's the best point you've made. I wholeheartedly
you can't keep
agree.
doing it.
Wholeheartedly.
Completely understand where you're coming from. They are who they are. We're not going to ask them not to be who they aren't. You know what I mean?
Because it works. They are who they are, and it works. It didn't work against Jacksonville. We knew coming into it they had a very stout defensive line. It didn't work. We're just not going to do it anymore. We're at the 1 yard line. Just don't do it.
And what I'm saying is, I don't think this is all Nick Sirianni. I think it's a collaborative effort. They go around the situational football. The decision is almost made before the game even happens. If we are in this down and distance, analytics says this. We have a group of plays that we like against the defense in this down and distance, and we're just going to pick one from the menu The decision's already been made. What sides are we getting to the meal, right? We already know we're getting the rotisserie chicken. Are we getting the mac and cheese? Are we getting the mashed potatoes? Are we getting the whatever it might be? Saquon Barkley running as much as he is. He's electric.
Touches.
He's dynamic. I have a little bit of a concern that down the line, as I'm hoping they make a playoff push and they're in the playoffs and fighting for the NFC Championship, that all of a sudden tread starts to wear a little thin on the tires. We kind of saw it happen with McCaffrey. McCaffrey came into the season a little banged up. Listen, when you got these long postseason runs, those seasons are long, man. And it puts a lot of wear and tear on. Do you think Saquon can, A, handle it? B, should they kind of get away from it and explore something different? Or C, like, are we entering a Sixers load management style of...
Christ, don't get me on the Sixers.
I'll go first because I'm going to be really short. First of all, this is why I'm saying take the points, dummy. Because if you go up 9 points, you could probably rest your running back in the fourth quarter and save him some touches.
Fair.
So we're playing a whole bunch of dumpster juice teams coming up. And if you handled your business and did what you're supposed to do, he's going to naturally get rest, just like he did in the Giants game when he's like, hey, you want to go out there and break your record?
Let the
He
young
says,
guys
nah,
eat.
let the young guys eat. But when you want to mess around and need Nakobe Dean to save your life because Doug was an idiot and didn't run the ball on 1st and 10 and try to go for a whole touchdown pass, you're in a whole different time zone. So how about you take the points? Are the analytics working on that too? Because the analytics tell you that a running back shouldn't take so many hits and so many carries. He's about to lead his career in carries. Where are the analytics on that? Where's the analytics to save him? Hey, maybe we take the points and say you're our running back. That's my statement on that.
Yeah, I'm concerned about his touches. I am. I think he's the type of dude that is built for it, but he's also had injury concerns over the years. And as he just pointed out, he's set for a career high in touches. I know it looks good now, but we want to see how he's looking in December, in January, hopefully in February. But that comes down to guys like Kenny Gainwell. They have to have confidence in the guy, and the guy behind him's got to be productive.
Yeah.
It's not. I don't think there's a trash chuck juice list of opponents coming up. I mean, you got Dallas this week, but then you go into Washington, right? And you have, was it L.A. or is Baltimore and L.A.? Like
Baltimore
you have, to me anyway, this 4-game stretch is going to be tough. Right, so I don't think that this stretch is going to be a situation where you can say, "Go ahead, get a blow, relax, get on the sideline, Saquon." Like they're going to have to lean on Saquon, and it scares me on both sides of the ball too, because I know you mentioned at the top of the show the trade deadline. Could they have targeted, another back to bring in to give him a breather here and there? They probably didn't want to. That's what they view Kenny Gainwell on. But it's another guy. They're doing the same exact thing with Brandon Graham. The dude's getting so much burn that he looks good now, but is that guy going to be holding up? Because if you're not getting anything out of Bryce Huff and you're relying so much on another guy that's got a lot of tread on the tires, is that what's that going to look like in January? So on both sides of the ball, so obviously Saquon's more impactful, but on both sides of the ball, I think they're playing with a little bit of fire.
Brandon Graham doesn't run out of juice.
I hope he doesn't. I hope.
We brought up the trade deadline. I'm going to tell you right now, it didn't surprise me even a little bit. Did it surprise you that they didn't make a move? You guys, that they didn't make a move at the trade?
My favorite thing in the world is when people say, "Why aren't you talking about?" I don't waste my time. Myles Garrett, Crosby.
Yeah, it's not gonna
First of all, if Harry Roseman bargain basement shops at the trade deadline, if he's going to make a big move, it's a pre-draft or an offseason. Like that's when he does the splash signings and trades. Middle of the season, you get a Tate, you get a whatever, you get a whoever. I'm not going to name these guys.
Avery, Robert Quinn.
You know what I mean? Like
what are we doing?
The random guys you get. But he got a Jahi, one shining moment. Okay, but everything else has been trash. So if he was going to make a move, I just wanted somebody like a Clowney or something. But not making a move just tells me it's not Super Bowl bust for them because they do have an issue and it's defensive back. They need somebody, if you're talking about Brandon Graham, but they need somebody to help because Huff is a zero. And just so I can jump on Howie's back a little bit. Again, Howie's really good at his job, but he's also terrible sometimes. And imagine if he just kept Hassan Reddick and let him sit out for the first 7 games. He'd have just as many sacks as Huff. And he's going to out-snap Huff, and he's going to out-sack Huff, and he's only going to play half the season. And you would have been paying him $14 million. Actually, $7 million as opposed to the $57 you wasted on this guy that's not doing anything. So, Howie's seasoning. I put that shit on everything.
Unless Hassan had more to do with that locker room issue than we all know. I was surprised, to be honest with you, when they traded him. I didn't think that they were going to do it. But then to see kind of what went down when he got to New York, and you hear some of the stories coming out about some of the antics and tactics that he took, it just started to make me wonder.
Well, he just didn't show up. It's not like he was walking in there,
I heard some
kicking
other
in
things.
doors and doing stuff. He didn't go to the building.
I heard some other things, and here nor there, unproven. I just heard some other things, and you know how it goes. You hear certain things, you there's some smoke. Who knows what it is? But all I mean to say is, after hearing certain things, I just start to wonder. I wonder if he was more of the problem than we know, and that's why they said, despite all of us saying you can't do it, all right, we got to move on from that guy, and we're just going to have to figure it out. But look, the bottom line is, you're right. You got to get something out of Bryce Huff, because from a pressure perspective, to have him be a zero, no pun intended, that's not going to get it done.
Reading between the lines, and I haven't been told this directly, but reading between the lines through different conversations, I'm not sure it was the Eagles didn't want Reddick.
Okay.
I think there was a lot of hurt feelings on Reddick's side. Reddick was looking for.
He wanted his money.
He wanted his money.
That's
he
all that
was. He was playing like he wanted his money. He was playing like he wanted his
Correct.
money,
And that pissed a lot of people off.
and it rubbed some people the wrong way. And so there were hurt feelings and the Eagles decided it was better off to kind of cut bait and fleece Joe. When you want to, sometimes you got to call up your buddy, be like, "Hey, man, listen, I'm in a situation. You want this guy? He's really great. You saw it,
You'll figure out a contract.
Yeah, you'll
You'll
figure
get
it out. He's ready to go." And then Joe Douglas kind of gets fleeced on a trade there, and is not going to get the value that he thought he was getting.
I call Nick dumb. He's dumb too. He didn't get fleeced. He's just an idiot.
Yeah.
Look, the bottom line is, I want to get paid. He said it openly. He said it outwardly. If you traded for him and didn't want to pay him, then that makes you a moron as a GM.
And in fairness to
you didn't
Gritty,
even get hosed. He told you straight up, I'm trading a guy that wants a contract negotiation. He's going to hold out on us. Think he's not going to hold out on you? Like, you've got to be dumb.
in
Howard
fairness,
didn't even get over on anybody. Like, straight up, like, it's so public.
you're so right. In fairness to what we talked about last week, and this offense, and how everybody's happy, because we were happy after a win, right? It's because, well, Devontae's paid, and AJ's paid, and Jalen's paid, and Saquon's paid, and that line is paid. There's a lot of paid dues on there, and Hassan wanted to be paid. And if you're telling me I'm not going to pay you, well, it's probably going to make you feel some type of way. Right. So maybe this whole thing is avoided, to your point, if they just would have paid him too.
Yep.
But they felt like he wasn't worth it. The Jets feel like he's not worth it, at least up until this point. So there's at least probably some merit to it.
And also keep in mind there, he was under contract.
Yeah.
So was
AJ.
That doesn't always
so was
make a
AJ,
difference.
and so was Devontae, so was Lane.
I get exactly what you're saying. To me, it was absolutely no surprise that the Eagles didn't make a move. I saw, and this always happens, like, Eagles Twitter or on social media or something like that. I saw an Instagram video where somebody posts, would you trade a one next year and a third in 2026 and a 6th-round pick for Myles Garrett? Yeah, you would have to be smoking the highest quality grade not to do that. Of course you would. Anybody on this planet, I could call my wife right now and say, how does this sound? And she doesn't know a damn thing about football. And she goes, sounds great, because it is, right? So listen, when you look at Jalen Ramsey at the trade deadline, 2 1s. Khalil Mack, 2 1s. And they weren't as good or big of a difference maker as, let's say, a Myles Garrett, who's, you can make the argument, the top dog at defensive end in the NFL. It's going to start at 2 1s, plus players, plus extras, because if you're the Cleveland Browns, you need me more than I need you right now.
And I can trade 2 1s to go up in the draft and go get the young version of him and get him cheap anyway, if I was going to do that.
Maybe.
Right.
Maybe. So, and you're right, you could trade that up, but maybe sometimes there's, I'm not saying all the time, but sometimes there's that guy out there that you say, no, that's the guy. I'm trading my 2 1s. You want more? I'll give you more to go get a Myles Garrett. Versus, okay, I can trade up from 28, get to top 5. You get a guy, he's a bust. How many busts do we see in the NFL?
And completely understand that argument, but also too, you spoke to, like, it's not Super Bowl. This tells me it's not Super Bowl or bust. I'll disagree with you a little bit here. What it tells me is that we have a young team. We're on to something here. They're on to something, right? But we've got an incredibly young team. We're going to have to say goodbye to some veteran. We're going to need as much draft capital as we can. So this next young core of the Jalen Carters, the Quinyons, the Dijons, look at what you did with N'Kobe and I mean, you just stepped in shit over there. You stepped in diamond-plated, gold-plated shit with these guys. You know, this young defense and a offense is paid for, but I'm going to need as much draft capital as I can to keep the machine rolling. Because how long do we look at the Phillies and say there's no farm team, there's no farm team, there's no farm team? And how long do we have to suffer through that until they could go get more talent?
I'm in complete agreement. It sounds like what you're saying is thanks to the offense and the defense in particular, that the future's bright. So why don't you go ahead and put on some Shady Rays?
Oh, thank you.
Right?
Good call,
As we
Jason
take a
Ashworth.
look at the birds and their bright future. We're going to put on some Shady Rays because they are quality shades that are built to last. Our friends at Shady Rays have you covered with premium polarized shades that won't break the bank. They have hundreds of options to choose from. So you're bound to find a perfect pair to match your style. And they probably have your style. They probably have a style in your team's favorite color. P.S. They do. Exclusive to our listeners, you can head to shadyrays.com and use the code PHLY to get 35% off polarized sunglasses. So protect yourself from the birds' bright future ahead with some Shady Rays. Transition. Segue. You like that?
Like it.
Gritty, it's up to you.
It is up to me. If you're in the Philadelphia area, I said this last week, so I'll say it again in case you missed it. If you have money and you're in a traditional bank and you're in your big bank and they're a national bank and they're probably stealing 10 cents a week out of your savings account and you don't know any different, you might want to check out TrueMark Financial Credit Union. I believe in all credit unions. They are for the people, by the people. They are not a multinational conglomerate. They are local to you and to the businesses in your area. Equal Opportunity Business Bank. Just go there if you are in the, let me just make sure I tell you in the right places. Philadelphia County, Bucks County. Basically, if you're in the Philadelphia area, Delaware County, just go there and sign up. It's a place where you can go and put your money in. They have HELOC loans for your home loans, and they just help you through everything. Like, you go there and actually talk to somebody who's probably been there for a long time. They're in your community. They live in your community. They work with local businesses. And it's just a place where you can go to get. I wish I lived in Philadelphia. I already have a credit union, but I got multiple bank accounts. I don't know if y'all got multiple bank accounts. Y'all just spreading your money around?
Yeah.
You gotta spread your money
Diversify
around.
that portfolio.
Yes. You do. I mean, I don't know how rich you are, but they are. TrueMark Financial is fundamentally insured by NCUA and is an equal opportunity lender. For more, go to TrueMark.com, PHLY. If you're in the area, go do it for yourself. Make yourself useful and feel better about your banking.
So I'm going to need moving forward, whoop, whoop. I'm going to need like a little, like N'Kobe Dean, whoop, and Cooper DeJean, whoop, and Quinyon Mitchell, whoop, right?
Those are the only good things we got going on.
Well, so here's a little nugget. There's better things going on. You mentioned that defense, right? Youngest defense in the NFL. Do you know that not one starter on the defense from this past weekend was over the age of 27?
It's wild.
That's phenomenal.
It's wild.
Moving forward, right? That's phenomenal. So to your point, to kind of put a bow on that conversation, yes, if they can pay for the offense, draft the defense, but keep some capital to be able to offset maybe some of the bills that they have to pay on offense and keep reloading in the trenches and add some more pieces on defense, I think you're right. How he knows he's on to something. And like he's done his entire tenure in Philadelphia, make them competitive today and tomorrow.
Yeah, plan on tomorrow. Plus, all right, so your one choices are you trade 2 first-round picks.
Well, they were never going to do that. Like,
they were never going to do that. I agree.
I hate even having that conversation.
Yeah,
because it's
I didn't
just
like it either.
so pointless.
100%.
It's so like it's. Don't say it again. It's asinine. We're not even going to do that. Like,
so we're
a regular trade, like a regular move.
Darius Smith was the only realistic potential option.
There were other guys like that they could have
Yes.
done to help themselves. This team's not going to the Super Bowl. They're not taking it seriously this year from me on defense because your defense right now is in the top 10. Your offense is in the top 10, but you've also racked up a lot of that going against 3 really bad teams that overinflate those numbers. And again, fumble aside, momentum is real. When you're only beating the Jaguars by the score that you ended up with on a last play hero interception, you can't play down to the level of your competition. And that's what we're doing lately. And it's just like, okay, so you rack up these fake numbers. Jordan Davis doesn't play any snaps. Huff's not playing any snaps. So you mean to tell me you couldn't have got a veteran to help you out on that D-line if you were serious about the postseason? Because from the postseason, you're playing with the big dogs in the NFC.
Who are those guys, though? Who, like, outside of Detroit, who are we saying? 'Cause Detroit's the one, right? We all agree that Detroit's the one.
Vikings.
So the Vikings are good, and then but then they can drop an egg, and they can look kind of a little pedestrian here and there. I don't think they look great this past week. Do you? I'm not. Are you scared?
Detroit's the team. Detroit's
the team. And then to me,
The Vikings are good.
The Vikings are
yes,
good.
they are good. The
I'm
Eagles
just
are
saying
good.
But I'm saying
The Vikings are playing harder competition right now.
If I'm
than the
going to sit
Eagles
there
are.
and
they
give
just
a
play the
nod to a
Bears?
team like, okay, you might be in better shape.
The Bears are 500.
The
Now
last
they're
2
not.
weeks, Caleb Williams has been the worst quarterback in the NFL.
But I'm talking about the record and as a team.
Yeah, they started 4-2, and now they're in a tailspin. I hear you're. I'm not trying to convince you that you're wrong, so I don't want you to get defensive. I'm just saying, to me, it's Detroit and then everybody else kind of jockeying for, all right, what's the NFC going to look like? Is Washington for real? Is Minnesota for real? Are they going to be able to play this way in January? Are the Eagles for real? The Falcons? Like, who are the Falcons? They're 6-3. Are they a legitimate contender, or are they playing good ball?
The Washington Commanders.
Where I said that. I said the Commanders.
So that's 4 teams right there.
No, I know, but the Eagles are all in that mix to me.
We're hitting week 10, so I feel like we're hitting like the magic number. And I'm waiting for, as we talk about and I think Detroit is legit. And I think if we were to look around the NFC and point at one team that probably better than the Eagles, I think unanimously we would look at Detroit and be like, that's them. Not to say the Eagles can't beat them. Not to say the Eagles can't beat them. But if we were looking on paper, any given Sunday. But I am waiting for the 2023 Eagles to reveal themselves.
You think the floor is going to just fall out?
I think when you talk about Minnesota or you talk about Washington or you talk about, I want to see which team is going to be the 2023 Eagles, where you get, or the Dallas Cowboys, who were 58 minutes into the show and have yet to mention, and we got to get there. But when you look at the trajectory and then all of a sudden they just fall off, right? Cowboys do it.
And that could be the Eagles again. The Eagles could be that team again. We don't know that, right? I completely understand your point.
You're one A.J. Brown missing from this offense and one Saquon Barkley to your respite to this team going into a fire sale.
But every team could say that.
No. Okay.
Every team. Like, dude, the Jags lost to the Packers by 3 points. The Texans beat the Jags by 4 points.
Yeah,
like every team, if you're telling me every team loses their best, like 2 of their 3 best players, they're not gonna fall back. Of course they will.
Even one of their best players. I'm just saying, when the Packers lost Jordan Love, they won 2 games. There's a difference between what the offense looks like without A.J. Brown on that field
He's
and the
so
way
much
they
better.
look. And the way Saquon Barkley is playing, I literally can't imagine what this team would look like if Saquon Barkley's not on the field. And to go to say that, for all the stats that Nick Sirianni's got, I say it every single week. Jalen Hurts' college career and his NFL pro career, that percentage of 80% winning looks damn near similar. But when he's not playing, Nick doesn't have no 80% win quota, because certain people have that value to it. Again, anybody can get hurt at any given time. I'm just saying that the Lions especially are above that. The Vikings, they lost their quarterback.
Yeah, but if they lose Justin Jefferson, how's Sam Darnold look? I mean, that's all I'm trying to communicate. You're right, but you could say that for a lot of teams outside of Detroit. Detroit, I think they could lose Montgomery. They'll be all right. They can lose Gibbs. They'll be all right. They've been playing without Jameson Williams. They're doing just fine. So they're the one team to me that I'll put in another echelon right now. Everybody else is in that same grouping for me personally.
I got 3 more things I want to get to.
You better hustle.
Yeah, one of which I'm willing to scrap. I do want to make this point, though, because I took the time to look into it. And if I take the time to look into it, I don't want to read it, right? When you take a look at Jalen Hurts, I know his passing numbers as far as passing attempts is down, but I think it's worth noting NFL total touchdowns. Number 1, Baker Mayfield, kind of a surprise, 25 touchdowns.
Didn't he lead in yards too?
2, Lamar Jackson with 22. 3, Joe Burrow, 21. 4, Josh Allen, 20. Jalen Hurts at 5 at 18. Completion percentage, Jalen Hurts, 7th in the NFL. Yards per pass thrown, Jalen Hurts, 6th in the NFL. Quarterback rating, Jalen Hurts, 8th in the NFL. All of that in the top 10. Pass attempts, 24th. Pass yards, 20th. Jalen's only thrown 4 interceptions. which we talked about as a big thing in the beginning, this with the birth of this show, right? We were challenged with a lot of Jalen Hurts bad decisions and a couple of picks. 20th, right? 20th in interceptions. Those stats prove to me, when you talk about completion percentage, yards per pass thrown, QB rating, total touchdowns, being in the top 10, but his passing attempts and passing yards being in the bottom third of the league, it's a run-first team. But when Jalen Hurts is throwing the ball, my God, is he doing it efficiently and with precision and with accuracy. And I think Jalen Hurts, like, we haven't brought up his name. He was the focal point of, like, the first 5,
He's not
6...
the guy, bro.
What?
He's not the guy.
He's facetious. He's being facetious.
He's being facetious?
Nah, he's not the guy.
According to the eStats.
Nah, bro.
According to the eStats.com.
Bro, stats don't mean nothing. He's not the guy. Keep your analytics to yourself.
That was a quick one. Throw it away. Do we even want to touch on the Kelce thing, or do we just want to let that one ride?
Oh, you're done with Hurts? I was about to put some icing on that.
No. Keep going with Hurts.
And you act like you have a time limit.
We can go as long as we want.
We're adults.
Let me just throw some icing on that, because last week you said stats are for nerds, and I say, all right, let's nerd out then.
Okay.
So we already know, this one I think we all know, he's got a QBR of at least 119 over the last 3 straight games, right? And he's the first quarterback in Eagles history to do that.
Yes, sir.
So but when you then expand the microscope, right, and say, okay, that's Eagles history. Let's talk about league history. So in terms of NFL history, over a 4-game span, to complete 70% of your passes, we talked about efficiency, to have at least 1,000 yards passing, which he does, at least 12 touchdowns, no interceptions, no fumbles. Only 4 people in the history of the NFL have done that.
Damn.
Jalen Hurts is now in the company of Tom Brady, Drew Brees, and Aaron Rodgers, who's done it twice.
Not the guy.
He's just doing things that I don't even think, I was about to say he's doing things we expect out of a quarterback. I never expected to put him in that category. I never, quote unquote, expected Jalen Hurts to be listed with Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady and Drew Brees. We wanted him to take care of the football. We wanted him to be dangerous with his legs. We wanted him to be a leader of men. We wanted us to win we wanted him to win football games. This dude is doing all that, and then he's quieting the naysayers, all the meanwhile saying, yeah, well, I got something for you. Watch me do this. Watch me do it at another level, a historic level. It's fun to watch.
He hasn't quieted anybody. There's morons still out there, and I always rock with you, Jalen. I told people, and I've been telling people, the worst thing I ever did about you is I stopped defending you. I mean, I just had to stop. I had to put a pause on it because you was fumbling. And the fumble was the biggest thing for me, not even interceptions. Quarterbacks throw interceptions. It was those fumbles. You clean that up, it's good. But I heard somebody say the other day, well, now all he's doing is throwing the deep ball. Are you stupid or are you dumb? Like, just be happy with the quarterback that we have. And again, the biggest intangible is I sit here and I'm yelling about stuff that really doesn't matter. Honestly, we're playing well, we're winning, and I'm complaining, I'm nitpicking. I think Nick's a moron. He's winning, so technically it doesn't matter. I think about the future and how things are going, but it doesn't matter.
No, it does.
But it's Philadelphia, though, right? So there's going to be somebody who still has to say something negative. And this man just sits up there with a half smile on his face. He's not crying. He's not freaking out. He's got a new wife at home, you know what I mean? Like, I saw the young boy down there at Panthers. Somebody, Maxie stole his girl. He can't act right. You know what I'm saying? Joel Embiid's a grown man out here pushing reporters. You know what I mean? Kelce, who is one of the most composure people, stuff got to him.
Gronk spiked his phone.
You need somebody who's going to sit there and just, all the stuff that this guy hears, and every single day, rent is due. And again, I hate Tom Brady. Bleep Tom Brady. But the only thing I can respect about him is that he's either angry about his play or he's calm. And that's what Jalen has, and that's what Philadelphia needs. And we don't even deserve it. Because coming from McNabb being all in his feelings, number 5 will always love you. You said it so sarcastically. And I did love you, bro. I was one of the people that rocked with you. But emotionally, Jalen's just out there doing his job.
Something I can't do. Something that I'm not built that way. I love this. I love his stoic nature, right? So, but what I was going to say is I'm one of the most staunch Jalen Hurts defenders, and I even started to question him. I even started to ask myself, like, wait a minute, am I blind in terms of, because I started saying here, what's the common denominator, right? Oh, you got to fire Nick because then we can find out, is Kellen calling the plays? And if it's not Kellen, like, are they orchestrating an offense around Jalen because of deficiency? I started questioning the guy. So when I talk about he's quieting people, I'm talking about myself as well. I'm even a Jalen. I'm one of his biggest fans, right? Legitimately, I am. But from a football perspective, I started questioning the guy. So I'm happy to shut my mouth. I love sitting back and going, "Ooh, there it is. Oh, I was wrong. Okay, thank you. There it is." So from that perspective, again, just kudos to the ball that Jalen Hurts has been playing, man. It's been impressive and fun to watch.
I look back at a previous show, right, and there was it was after the Tampa game. Boy, was I cranky after the Tampa game. I look back at that show and I was in rare form, very cranky at the Tampa game. And I asked Jules to throw up a graphic because it was pissing me off because after like a 3-4 game sample size, people were like, well, look at Jalen Hurts' stats and look at Patrick Mahomes' stats and look at Jalen Hurts' stats and look at Patrick Mahomes' stats. And it drove me bananas because you can't look at a young season and cherry pick a 3-4 game sample size and say X equals Y. No, it doesn't. Show your work. The math doesn't math, right? Because it's too early on in the season. But I see Jalen Hurts. This is what I give Jalen Hurts a lot of credit for. Jalen Hurts is just like this football team. They're trying to get better. They're trying to correct the mistakes. All of a sudden, they start correcting mistakes, and you see Jalen playing mistake-free football. You see him not throwing interceptions. You see him not putting the ball in harm's way. You see him taking the checkdowns. And I don't know if that's a combination of Nick Sirianni taking a step back, Kellen Moore taking a step forward, Jalen Hurts working harder, the analytics, or all of it. I don't give two shits where it comes from. You just know that Jalen Hurts is working to get better. Like the shit that he says up there sometimes, it's intentional and it's meant for the media and it comes from the saving book of coach speak, right? But he's living that shit because he's doing it. He's putting it on the field. We have seen this guy, and with that amount of years underneath his belt, continue to get better week after week. So I have to just tip my hat or tip that thing off to Jalen Hurts because he is improving his game every single week, and hopefully that incline keeps going right into the postseason, and then you don't know what's going to happen.
So 2 things real quick so we can get this done. Kelce and Joel, you don't talk about someone's deceased brother. You don't talk about people's children. It was retracted beforehand, so Marcus Hayes knew that he was wrong. Joel was wrong for putting his hands on him, but at the same time, if someone doesn't accept your apology, you need to walk away. And if you want to keep talking to them and they put their paws on you, that's on you. Kelce, salt of the earth, a guy who will stop and shake hands, take pictures with anybody, has been known for it. If you're going to follow somebody and harass them and talk about their family in an open space and make them feel uncomfortable, I personally feel like you deserve to get your phone spiked through the earth. And again, that's something he has to deal with personally. But we over here at Ride with Philadelphia, we ride with our guys, and everybody else be damned. And now we can talk about the Cowboys.
Well, I'll say 2 words. We live in this world where we can hide behind our words, where we live in this social media prescribed world where we say what we want with no repercussion, no consequence. And I think for both of them, for Mr. Hayes and for that punk out in Happy Valley, and I'm a Penn State alum, and I will call him a punk out in Happy Valley. For both of those, it was the FAFO moment. F around and find out. Because you're not hiding behind social media anymore. We always say this, and I think it's become cliche to say it, but we say, watch your mouth, right? We always say, watch your mouth. Well, why? If there's no repercussion, if nobody's ever going to do anything about it, if you're free to do and say and act as you please, and nobody's ever going to check you, watch out for what? Watch my mouth, why? And I think it was a good reminder. Props to Embiid, props to Jason Kelce for reminding people that, yeah, I get it. I don't want to go down this path of your words are hurtful. No, but your words have meaning. And sometimes that meaning causes consequence. And Mr. Hayes figured out what the consequence was, and that punk in Happy Valley figured out what that consequence was. And sometimes I wish more people would force others to face consequences. Just going to put that out there.
Yeah, but Marcus Hayes...
He knew exactly what he was doing.
He knew exactly what he was doing. When you're a writer, you want Joel Embiid to act like a professional, check yourself, dude. You act like a professional. Because if you're acting like a professional writer, everything that you put down in ink or type or whatever it might be has to either put context, add value, or give definition to the piece that you're writing. What you threw in there had no value, gave no context, and had no reason. Absolutely zero reason to be in there other than to poke the bear. And I don't have a thing in common with Joel Embiid. I don't. We're born in different countries. We're much different heights, so on and so forth. What I do have in common with Joel Embiid is I do have a son and I do have a dead brother. And until you go through that kind of trauma, you can look at Joel Embiid and you can say you're making millions of dollars, act like a professional. There are certain things that you just, certain dark corners in people's brains and holes in people's hearts that you do not poke at. And if you want to poke at it, I don't know when we stepped over a line, maybe it was social media, but amongst men, when certain things are said, we have to fight now. At least that's what I think. We have to fight.
100%.
I don't care what your role is or what your role is. Certain words are said, it's go time. And I can't, like, listen, I understand the argument that Joel has to take a step back and stuff like that. I just, you know, my heart kind of goes out to that guy, having gone through what he went through. Kelce, I'll tell you, it worried me because Kelce by nature, and I would never want anybody, including Nick Sirianni, to go against their nature. I've taken enough laps around the sun to know that never deny the person that you are. Jason Kelce is one of the most approachable, kindest, warmest individuals that I've ever met in Philadelphia. Him and Brandon Graham are the two. They will take time. And is it a burden to them? Yeah, it's a burden to them because everybody wants a photo. Everybody wants an autograph. And a lot of people aren't about that. I'll tell you what, Smitty, we all love Smitty. Smitty ain't about that. Smitty's not approachable. Jason Kelce, absolutely approachable, but we love him here. He's adored here. We are indebted to that man here. So whenever he's approached, it's from a place of love. It's from a place of reverence. It's from a place of appreciation. It made me a little nervous when he was up in Buffalo. Now, I'll say this about the Buffalo Bills fans in the hierarchy of fans, right? Buffalo Bills, yeah, they're a little quirky. They're a little weird. There's something different in the water in upstate New York.
Yeah, they're like us.
Yeah, they're a little weird, but they're good people. I've been up there. They're good people, right? I've been to Bills tailgates. So when he saw him, even though his brother was trying to knock their team out of the playoffs, they were warm and inviting to them. Jason, now that you have grown out of Philadelphia, and you will always have a home here, and you will always be revered here, but now that you have grown into a national or even international superstar, not everyone is going to approach you like they are indebted to you for the Super Bowl. Be careful out there. Have security. Watch your back. People are going to do this and want to go viral and want you to react and want you to do something stupid. Be careful out there. Don't deny who you are because who you are is what got you here. But be careful.
That's so tough. You're so right in everything you say. That's so tough because once you said about earlier.
We got to wrap this up. We got to get to Dallas because the chat is going, and we do got to get to Dallas. We've all said our thing about Kelce, and Dallas sucks.
Is that how we want to leave it? Because I'm willing. I'm willing.
Oh, I want to talk about the Cowboy game.
Okay.
I want to talk about the actual game.
I didn't know how quickly you were looking to wrap it up.
No, not quickly. I want to talk about it. So
okay, let's go.
I want to get to
Gritty, take the wheel.
So you walked in the door. The first thing you said to me was like, "Do you feel the juice for the Cowboys?" I hate the Cowboys. I don't care that they're hurt. I don't care that they're Brokeback Mountain. I don't care that their life's in shambles. I don't care that Jerry Jones is crying himself to sleep every night. I want to kill them. We never win in Jerry's world. Jalen hasn't won there yet. I don't care who's playing. And matter of fact, I almost wish Dak was playing because Cooper Rush plays better than Dak. So I care about the game. It matters to me. They need to win this game. It always matters, no matter what. If they were 1-15, it would matter to me. You have to beat Dallas in Dallas. You have to beat them every time you play. We don't do it, obviously, but we have to do it. Buddy Ryan says so. The only reason I even love Buddy Ryan, revenge game. I wasn't even old enough to know, but my dad's like, yo, he talking about we got a revenge game. I don't know what that means, but I watched it on tape enough times to know to bring it home for Jerome. Rookie year got that fumble. I know that Cunningham went out there and they scored the walk-on field, and they just ran the score up on them. And then they came here to Philadelphia. We were injured. I had Minshew Magic out there trying his best to throw some touchdowns, and they put up 55 points in my house. They didn't care about us. They didn't care about our injuries. They didn't care that it was the last game of the season. They came into Philadelphia and put up 50 points. Walk, Nick. You know what? You want me to be on your side with Nick? Go for 2 every time, Nick, because it's Cowboys. I don't care if we're up 97. Go for 2 every fucking time. Because that's the kind of smoke that I'm talking about. That's only F5 I drop. We done had 8 games. You done said it a whole bunch of times. We're late in the show. If you're here now, you're a diehard. By the way, matter of fact, let me tell you something real quick before I let you go talk. There's a watch party for the Sixers at PHLY. It's at the Tirnog. Come out and get a ticket at PHLY.com. The Flyers, I'm going to be in King of Prussia with my boy Bill. And you can get tickets right too. They're giving away 2 VIP tickets to the game as a giveaway. There's a lot of giveaways at all these events. It's only $10. Go to PHLY.com and find out. And then obviously there's watch parties everywhere. There's a football watch party. And they're just giving away stuff. If you're a diehard, if you're not a diehard, spend $10. Come hang out with people. I'm here at the Flyers, but I'm not going to the other ones. I got things to do. Sixers, Flyers, and Eagles, they're giving away luxury tickets out here in these streets. And I hate the Cowboys. I'll say some more about it, but I'll let you say something before I get done. And the chat hates your hat. They've been dogging you all episode.
I knew it was going to happen.
I
didn't want to say it when he walked in with him. I was like,
we getting super chats, and they're like, not $1 this needs to go to that guy with the cowboy hat.
Hey, just because y'all ain't sexy enough to pull it off,
Look,
don't bother me. Don't bother me.
Hey, look. I'm not doing it.
Say it. Don't be so insecure about a hat, people. It's a hat. It's Cowboys week. When else am I going to wear it? When else am I going to wear it? If I can't wear it during Cowboys week, when else am I going to wear it? Y'all nuts. Get out of here.
I ain't never wore a G-string to a strip club. I'm just saying.
Wow. There's an image. Oh, my God. Erase. Delete. Oh, my God. That's going to be burned in my retina.
Tell me, is there no juice for Cowboys? You don't care? It doesn't matter to you?
Bro, I can't get off the G-string right now.
Hey, look, I'm just saying. I be going to a lot of places not playing dress up for it.
But, bro, you're playing dress up right now.
No,
you got another grown man's jersey on.
No, it says Black Gritty on the back of my jersey.
Yeah, but you're not playing the NFL, so you're wearing a costume too.
You got anything on the Cowboys so we can tie
Wrap
a bow on?
Yeah, beat the Cowboys. That's what I got to say. Like always. That's what you got to do. It's the Cowboys. It's a different game. We look forward to it. That's why I mark the calendar and I say that's the boots and the hat day. That's when I come out and I rock it because it's the Cowboys. We all want to pound them in the dirt. We all know we dislike, like the Commanders, cool, got it. The Giants, yeah, not a bad. Cowboys, beat their ass into the ground. We know that. Put a G-string on them, bring them to the strip club, beat that ass in the ground. We know this. There's nothing left to be said.
Shit always gets wild at the end of the show. It always goes off the rail at the end. Listen, Eagles fans, if you're traveling to Dallas, last year was my first time ever in AT&T Stadium. Brought my parents. It's the first time traveling outside of Lincoln Financial Field. My father just had hip surgery, so he was with a cane. It took him a while to get it to upper level seats. I mean, we were even mezzanine, but it felt like upper level seats. To go get his ass to the seats took a while. And we sat there, and we watched the Eagles get their ass kicked. And I had to hear it nonstop from the Dallas Cowboys fans. Now, I travel. You know me. I travel a lot. The walk of shame is a very bad thing. It's a very bad thing to walk out of somebody's stadium after an L, especially when you're an Eagles fan, because they know how hard we give it to opposing fans, and so they try to make it a little extra on that one, right? So at the end of the third quarter, we're going into the fourth. I told my father, I said, my mom and dad, I said, listen, word to the wise, here's what I want you to do. Get out of here now. Limp your ass with your cane half a mile down the road, get an Uber before 00 hit. And they go, so we want to stay to the end of the game. I said, no, you do not. No, you do not, because you do not know what is coming. They listened to me, thankfully, but I stayed until 00s. It was the worst walk of shame that I ever had out of an NFL stadium. To make it worse, it was from my most hated fan base. So Eagles fans, if you are traveling down, Philly sports trips, or traveling down on your own to AT&T Stadium, to that cesspool called Dallas, and you walk into the stadium and you see a bunch of deflated cockroach Cowboys fans who don't have Dak Prescott, who paid Dak Prescott, who have an old geriatric, insane owner, who've got players that are underperforming and a team that is lifeless and going nowhere. At the end of the game, I want you to do me a favor. I want you to tell all those Cowboys fans, EROCK said hello. Do that for me. Please. Until next time, we appreciate all the likes, all the subscriptions, all the comments, the people dogging Ashworth about his hat in the super chat and everything like that. Black Gritty, where can they find us?
PHLYChiefseats.com, PHLYChiefseats.com. Dallas sucks. Go Birds!
And until next Wednesday at 7 o'clock, he's streaming right here on PHLY. Dallas sucks, and go Birds.
Giddy up.
We all silly like the mayor.